Well, I suppose as a teacher, it helps inform me on what I need to be doing to make the learning experience better. From the student point of view, I think when they see their peers doing something and they can see it being done really well, they can share best practice. And I think that's really, that's been one of the main sort of benefits from it. From an individual point of view, I think the students really reflecting on what they've been doing really helps them take ownership of their learning and develop what their learning needs are as well. Identify and develop an understanding of what they need to do. As design students, we always want them to be in that sort of analytical, evaluative cycle. So whenever they do something, they should always be questioning what they're doing. Why are we doing it this way? Why did that work? Why didn't it work? What would happen if we did it this way? So there's always that questioning going on. It's a record, I suppose, and it just then informs them of, right, this is what we've learned. What were the key things to take away from it? What do we need to build upon? So it's that continuous cycle. It's almost like the design process is pretty much the learning process. Yeah.
I know a lot of them already had blogs, so it was more an extension of what they had already created. And I've been trying to keep that momentum going in class, especially with Writers' Fortnight being the last couple of weeks. What I would like to see moving forward is that the blogs and the reflections almost become like an extension of their learning. So, we'll do things in class and perhaps we discuss, I don't know, what have we got coming up? Purple Hibiscus or the Shakespeare play that we're going to be studying, and then they can actually talk about topics that we've discussed in class that perhaps we didn't get a chance to talk about as a class together, and they can write about that online. I had to create a WordPress blog for one of the master's courses that I'm taking this year, and I just added it to my WordPress account. But having said that, it still took me a good 30 minutes to set things up and find images and, what did I want the front page to look like and all that stuff. But just, you have to look at it as a work in progress. It's not going to be perfect right off the bat, because you're going to be playing around and, learning about what a widget is and how to find images that you can use, if they're not your own. And I would say just be patient, and it will come, and eventually it'll be really, really it's very, very easy to use.
If they do give it a go, from what I've seen, they're quite happy with it. We do also use them in theatre as well. And so they have to keep a journal, and so we've gone to the bloggers journal, and the videos are working really well with that, because they can edit in stuff that they've done practically, and then they're reflecting over them. So they haven't been asked to do that necessarily, but they're obviously seeing there's opportunities for some really cool ways they can communicate to the teacher or to the mentor as well. And I think that's really nice for the IBE, for example, with CAS, are asking for evidence. If you can capture all of that within one little video, I think that's really lovely.
What I've tried to do, because we just started, right? So what I've tried to do right now is allowing them to just reflect in there, right? There's not much structure to it. It's not okay, this is what you have to do. These are the expectations. It's just I give them a question. I give them something to think about based on what we were discussing in the classroom. And then just whatever you think about this, reflect on your own, I don't know, ways of dealing with these issues, or your own ways of considering right or wrong, because we're doing right now faith, ethics, and political ideologies. So I'm just wanting to give them the blogs as a space where they can just poof. This is a sharing place. So I think at the beginning I wanted it to be this is your thinking place, but it could also, or it's also a place where you can share things onto many other people. So that in that way, next year when these grade 9s are grade 10s, and then the new grade 9s would be able to see the blogs that they've written. And these are going to be probably the same posts that I'm going to ask them to write, or maybe different ones, but at least they can get an insight into what the previous year wrote. And also the previous year will have that, oh, like they will be reading what we wrote from now on, kind of thing. So I mean, I don't know. We've had that conversation. They're happy about it. They're excited about it, and I think that's also part of, I don't know, the factors that they will consider when writing a post.
Is to use the blog as a platform for the students to share the sources, because next year I use my Chinese B grade 11 students to as a trial this year. So next year they're going to write a written assignment, and their written assignment is coming from the sources they find which are related to the core topics we learned. Then ideally, I think they should use the blog to find some sources and post the sources on their blogs. Then the other students will go to read the blogs and comments on the blogs. So next year, it will be easier for them to get together all the sources together to use them to develop their own ideas for the written assignment. That's our plan. Using the blog to comment or to find more sources will help them to extend their study after class. Then, for example, we learn one text about Chinese New Year in class time, then they can search several other sources after school to explore their understanding of the Chinese New Year to get more vocabulary or sentence structures regarding the topic. So I think it's a good, how do I say, supplementary of the class teaching.